The image of the beast has been difficult to understand in times past, but technology has been advancing so incredibly rapidly. The description in these verses will likely be spot on with what will happen. And the mark of the beast will surprise you if you haven't been keeping up with end time events in the Middle East. The world is changing, folks. Please stay up to date and definitely make sure you subscribe if you aren't up to date. If you missed the last study, make sure you watch that. The links are below. Times are changing. Let's jump into the text. This is about the false prophet, Revelation 13, verse 14. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast, who was wounded by the sword and lived. People on earth are to make an image to the beast. You make it. It's made with hands. Now the beast, that is the antichrist, was wounded, but he's still alive. How badly was the antichrist wounded? It was a mortal wound. He should have died, but he's still alive and healed. Now, this false prophet is going to keep the work of the Antichrist going. Verse 15. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. The false prophet is able to give breath to the image of the beast. What does it mean to give breath to something? To give breath means to give life. Genesis 2:7. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. The false prophet was given power to give breath to the image. This created thing made by human hands receives life. What does that mean, and how is this possible? The answer is AI, artificial intelligence. Some of you may not be aware of the leaps and bounds the technology sector is making in this field. Just last year, a Google artificial intelligence program beat a human in the world's most difficult board game. It's an ancient Chinese board game called Go. Previous AI could beat players at chess by simply calculating all the possible moves and picking the best one. The human was beaten by raw computing power. But with the game Go, there are as many possible moves as there are atoms in the universe. It's basically non-calculable. The AI was programmed to think like a human. Previous AI used its raw calculating power, brute force. This new AI used a self-learning program known as a neural network. It's based on theories of how the human brain works. Some people were shocked when the computer won because they didn't think this type of technology would be available for another decade. I might need to make another video explaining AI, but the thing about AI is the people who make it have no idea how it works, because the AI is literally creating its own algorithms and thinking by itself. What's it thinking? Nobody knows. And that's the scary thing about AI. You just have to trust it's going to do the right thing. And I want to emphasize, AI is improving incredibly fast. Once you can teach a computer to learn, it'll learn at phenomenal speeds. If you could teach a computer to learn every language there is in the world, how many hours or days would that take? Now, how many lifetimes would it take you to learn every language in the world? You just can't compare to a computer. So the false prophet brings this image to life. The image of the beast is able to both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. The image is linked to the beast, the Antichrist. Now, how will this AI be linked to the Antichrist? I found some recent articles very interesting. Ray Kurzweil is the director of engineering at Google. He has made predictions since 1990s, and 86% of them are thought to have been correct. And those that seemed wrong were still yet to come. He basically got the timing wrong. He predicted self-driving cars, but he thought the technology would arrive sooner. The thing about technology is that it's coming. It's just a matter of when. The thing about AI is that it's improving faster than what people thought. Anyways, Ray Kurzweil predicts humans will become hybrids by the 2030s. Nanobot implants in the brain will allow us to back up our brains. Kurzweil is considered one of the most accurate predictors of the future. Also, this is interesting. Elon Musk just co-founded a neurotechnology startup company in 2016 to integrate the human brain with artificial intelligence. Elon is always warning people of the dangers of AI because you never know if it'll go killer on you. He's always suggesting there be oversight in its development. Now you may be thinking, George, this is science fiction and 2030s is far away. Jesus is coming soon. You know, it has always been my conviction that the Lord would give the church a minimum of at least a full 2,000 years before Jesus returns. Jesus died in 30-something AD. I'm not one who tries to figure out the exact date, and that's not what God called me to do. But assuming Jesus died 30-something AD, then 2,000 years after that is 2030s. Also, the end-time Elijah has a ridiculous amount of work to do. He needs to restore all things, whatever that encompasses. But it sounds like a monumental task. He needs to prepare the church for the rapture and finish taking the gospel to all the nations so that the end may come. He hasn't even appeared in power yet. Jesus has not broken the first seal, and God hasn't sent him out yet. The Jews also need to rebuild their temple because the Antichrist will declare himself God, and the abomination of desolation will then be set up as spoken of by Daniel the prophet. There's still lots of time for all these things to get in place. With the way technology is advancing, I wouldn't call all this technology science fiction, because computers have literally changed the world. If you're old enough to remember a time before personal computers, then you know that was a completely different era. This thing called the internet completely changed the world. It's like a miracle. I can make these videos in China or wherever I want, and you guys can watch it from around the world. When was this even possible or even imaginable? Now everyone is consuming on their cell phones. I remember using the pager. Why do I even still have that thing? But AI is the next big thing. I believe the Antichrist will somehow be connected to this AI, this image that is able to speak. By the way, if you didn't know, Iran produces some of the top computer scientists in the world. Eric Schmidt, the chairman at Alphabet. Alphabet is the parent company of Google. He said, some of the very best people are in countries that we won't let into America. Would you rather have them building AI somewhere else or rather have them here? Iran produces some of the top computer scientists in the world, and I want them here. To be clear, I want them working for Alphabet and Google. And truly, this is one of the reasons that made America so powerful. It has ability to draw in the best brains from around the world. Steve Jobs' biological father was a Syrian. Elon Musk was from South Africa, but he knew he had to get to the USA if he wanted to build a large, successful company. And this was one of the blessings God put on America. It has the ability to draw in talent and brains from around the world. A lot of successful people in the US have parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents who were ambitious and smart immigrants. And that's kind of a stupid statement because everyone in the US, except the Native Americans, are immigrants or from immigrants. Most of them ambitious for a better life. That's why they left their original country. But that's not really a stupid statement because there's a whole lot of people in the US who don't realize their ancestry is from Europe and south of the US border. Like this woman in this video speaking with a heavy accent and terrible grammar.
Your country. This is my country. This is not a Chinese. Oh my God, Chinese ugly, ugly Chinese.
She was telling a Korean American who was serving in the Air Force Reserve that this was her country and apparently not for immigrants. She thought the other person was Chinese. And this happens every so often in the US. I know, I grew up in California. I've experienced plenty of racism. Back to Iran. Iran does have a lot of talent in the AI sector. I wouldn't be surprised if the image of the beast arises from Iran. Let's continue. Verse 16. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. Here's where it gets interesting, and I want you to pay attention. His number is 666, but what did John see, and what did he actually write down? John wrote down 3 Greek letters. Each Greek letter corresponds to a number. That number adds up to 666. John says this is a mark, or a name, or the number of his name. Now here are the 3 Greek letters John wrote down. It turns out those Greek letters look a lot like Arabic words. You can basically read it in Arabic. This word in Arabic is bism, in the name of. And this word is Allah, in the name of Allah. And the symbol for Islam is the 2 crossed swords. So John wrote down these 3 Greek symbols that also happen to read in Arabic in the name of Allah. And it included the symbol for Islam, the 2 crossed swords. Now, where do Muslims put this mark? They wear it on their foreheads or their right arm. This is the mark that says you belong to Allah and serve Allah, the God of Muhammad. Now, when the Antichrist arrives, I believe the mark will be worn on the forehead and the hand. The hand could also include the wrist area. I'm not certain, but it's something to watch out for. And if you live in the kingdom of the Antichrist, you will not be able to buy or sell unless you have this mark. So lucky for you, Seventh-day Adventists, who say the mark is worshiping Jesus on Sunday. You're lucky you don't live in the Middle East. But I'm sure if you guys did, you wouldn't take the mark anyways, because taking the mark means to pledge allegiance to Islam and Allah. Now this mark will eventually lead to a foul and loathsome sore when the first bowl of wrath is poured out, which leads me to believe the mark will eventually be some ink or tattoo, maybe some nanotechnology embedded in the skin, which will lead to a foul sore. So my conclusions are the Mahdi will be hooked up to an AI, this image will be able to speak, and people will worship his image. They'll take the mark of his name, in the name of Allah. Everyone under his empire will follow him. Those who refuse to obey and take the mark will be killed. Also, I believe his name will somehow be related to the number 666. However, I wouldn't spend too much time trying to figure out the 666. When you see these things starting to come together, then you can try to figure out who it might be. But for now, I'm not going to spend time with it. This is George Chuang teaching from China. You can help support this teaching ministry if you enjoy these videos. The links are down below. Thank you guys for being a part of this ministry. Let us enter heaven with an abundant entry. Don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, let us continue to love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. Oh, I love you, Jesus. Amen. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.